What's up, girlfriends? I am Winona, your gospel girlfriend. I am the girlfriend you can pray with, counsel with, fast with, talk to about the Bible, or you just need that encouraging hug or an encouraging word. I am that same girlfriend who will give you a listening ear when you need to vent about your job, your relationships, or that situation that almost made you forget you were saved, girl. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Welcome to Gospel Girlfriend Podcast. Gospel Girlfriend Podcast inspires and encourages you that although life's journey may be challenging at times, there is nothing too hard for God to handle. Not that sickness or disease, not that financial situation. I mean, absolutely nothing is too hard for God to handle. His word says he is a friend that loves at all times and sticks closer than a brother. So receive this inspirational word for today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am your host, Winona, your gospel girlfriend. So let's talk. I love that song. The name of this song is Faith by Galantis and Dolly Parton, featuring Mr. Pro. What's up, girlfriends? This is Winona, your gospel girlfriend, and I am so excited to be with you tonight. Welcome to the Gospel Girlfriend Podcast, and I believe in encouraging and inspiring you that despite of life adversity, that you keep it moving, that you are going to make it to your breaking through place. So tonight, girlfriends, that's kind of what I want to tie into my message on tonight. I want to talk about healing in the midst of the transition. You know, I can share stories about transitions that I have been through and what has happened in the midst of those transitions. But I want to share some insight with you on tonight about the importance of allowing God to heal you in the midst of that transition, because there's an area that a lot of times is hidden and we don't see. The area on one side is when we're going through the struggle, we're going through the setback, the rejection, how we handle that closed door. And on the other side is the new, when we actually have came through all of that and now we're walking in a place of blessings. But in between those 2 points, there is a gray area, what I call the transition point. Or also you can look at it as the crossing over of the Jordan River, because see, the Jordan River represented a place of transition, and it also represented a place of new beginnings. So how we emotionally and mentally handled, all of that struggle, the trials that God took us through, in essence, those closed doors, those setbacks, those letdowns, those put downs, those rejections. So, before we got into the place of new beginnings, how did we emotionally handle all of those situations, and how did we take it in mentally? And also, I want to delve a little bit into how did that impact our relationship with God? So many times we don't understand, Lord, why did you close that door? I have an experience where, I was laid off from my job. I had to move out of my condo, and I felt a pain as I was going through that. That was like the pain was in the core of my belly, that it was hurt. It was a deep pain. It was a deep time of going through, and I did not understand at that time, Lord, why did you close that door? Why did you cut off my income? Because at the same time, that same year, my daughter was now a senior in high school, and many of you that have children, high schoolers, or now in college, the financial cost of a 12th grade year. So being able to just how I emotionally handled that, and and took that in, and how did that impact my relationship with God? There's a healing that needs to take place. And I'm going to tell you now, every new beginning, I believe every transition that we go through, there's some form of healing that needs to take place because of how we handle it. We're still human. We're not perfect. So there may be times of outbursts of anger or frustration, or we just want to shut down. We shut people out, or we find ourselves, sometimes we may even try to shut God out. But those are the periods of healing that we need as we transition from all of that struggle into walking into our breaking through place. So our relationship with God, we want to make sure that we, always be in a position of repenting to God whenever we have those outbursts of anger, or we just find ourselves possibly maybe backing up from God, because a lot of times what God takes us through, we don't understand it. It doesn't make sense, but God knows, because He's our creator. So He knows what's best for us, what we need. And most importantly, He knows how to get us from struggle to breakthrough. He knows how to get us from the old to new. And sometimes it's painful of what we had to go through. And we have to be honest with ourselves. First of all, how did we get to that place of struggle? Was it choices that we made? Was it wrong, the pathways that we took? So, we have to be careful not to blame God for all of the difficulty, the difficult times, and making sure that we, asking God to forgive us, in order for us to heal and keep and maintain our relationship with God as He take us into the breaking through place, as we have crossed over our Jordan, transitioned over our Jordan, and now we're into our promised land. That's key number one. Key number two is, being able to receive the healing of forgiving yourself. I talked about, being making wrong decisions, choosing wrong pathways. A lot of times we can hold that ourself hostage because we have unforgiveness of bad decisions that we made, wrong paths that we took. So we want to make sure that we forgive ourselves, that we are not bringing that unforgiveness into the breaking through place, into that promised land. Because if we find ourselves where we've reached the promised land, but we have unresolved unforgiveness, in essence, we're still stuck in the old. We're still stuck in that transition, because we haven't figured out that we need to forgive ourselves, or we may not necessarily know how to forgive ourselves. So we have to make sure that we stop the self-blame, stop the self-doubting, stop even the self-hate, the negative talk that we have toward ourselves, and just being able to forgive. Because guess what? God brought you out from that old place to now the breaking through place. He was with you when you made that bad decision, when you went down that wrong path. He still made a way of escape for you to come out of that thing, and in order for you to walk in new. So what you have to think about is, God brought me out of this. So even though I may be going through this setback, or this closed door, this rejection right now, but what is the good that came out of that? I was here, but now God brought me into the new. So we have to celebrate that, and keep that in the forefront of our mind, and being able to have that forgiveness towards ourselves and towards others. Because in the midst of us going through, in the midst of that transition, there may have been people that we have had to let go of. God says that there's a place where sometimes where He takes us into the new, and so certain people can't go with you into the new. And so the offenses that may come in the midst of that transition when they're dealing with people. And I'm talking about people that are close to you, people that you consider were in your inner circle, close family members, close, relationships with people in your church. Don't hold a grudge toward those people. Be able to let go and forgive those people, because you don't want to be stuck and lose sight and not be able to appreciate the breaking through place, the blessing place, everything in the promised land. You won't be able to appreciate it if you're still holding on to issues, offenses from people, old things. You won't be able to appreciate the new. So key 2 is, being able to forgive yourself and forgive others. And sometimes we have to practice forgiveness. Journaling is a great healing tool. Write out why you have unforgiveness toward a person. What's the issue that caused that unforgiveness. And keep the lines of communication with God open. As you begin to journal and write it down, then pray about it. And as you're praying about it, you're releasing it to God. You're giving it to God. That's what you want to do. You want to release that burden of that offense. You want to release that burden of that unforgiveness. Release that to God. And I speak that over somebody that needs to hear that right now. No more unforgiveness, because it's time for you to walk in the new. You're in the midst of your transition, but you're stagnant in your transition because you have not forgiven. So tonight I speak that you will forgive tonight. You will walk in a place of unforgiveness in order for you to keep moving forward in the transition to reach the newness that God has for you. Amen. So key number 3 is being able to appreciate everything that you've gone through. That is so key right there. Appreciate the struggle. Appreciate the closed doors. Appreciate, the letdowns. Appreciate all of it and be thankful for everything that God has taken you through. Because when you appreciate what you had to go through, you will be able to appreciate the new beginnings, the new friendships, the new divine connections, that the new business, the new ministry. You will be able to appreciate all that God has for you. So I want you to take hold of those 3 keys when it comes to when you're in the midst of your transition and being able to walk in the healing, to receive the healing that God has for you. Because there's a scripture in the book of Exodus when Moses is taking the children of Israel out of Egypt, and God says, the enemy that you see today, you will see no more. So when you come out of when you come out of going through your struggle and your challenges, of your trials, when God brings you into your promised land, into your breaking through place, he says you won't see those old situations again. You won't have to worry about those closed doors. You won't have to worry about, those offenses. You won't have to worry about that same type of struggle again, because God has brought you into something new, something better. You're now in a higher place, an elevated place in God. So those are the keys that I want you to, those healing keys that I want you to take with you as you are in the midst of that transition and walking into the new. Just allowing God to do that healing in that place of transition is so key. And you're going to be so thankful, for what the healing that God has done for you. But first you have to be open to receive that healing. And so, girlfriends, I am so glad that you tuned in tonight, that we had a chance to just talk about healing in the midst of transition, because I know that God has so much for so many of you. So embrace the healing that God has for you. And I want you to check me out on my website, WinonaThomas.com. Become a subscriber, and you will receive a free healing devotional entitled Beautiful You on the Insides. And that will help you also with that healing in the midst of that transition, because there are a lot of key biblical principles in this free download. And then you can also catch me on Instagram at Winona.Thomas. I would love to hear from some of you guys. And so thank you so much for tuning in to Gospel Girlfriend Podcast. I want you to stay blessed,
Stay healed and be thankful. And until next time, bye-bye.